Yeah, I don't think Mother knew about this.
Uncle Marvin was strangled by his own beard.
Yep, never saw it coming. Hey, welcome to America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth on the program where we shake your family tree and watch the nuts fall out. This segment is brought to you by LegacyTree.com. Very pleased today to have Gloria Merchant on the show. She's the author of a book called Pirates of Colonial Newport in Rhode Island. And the point of this whole thing is recently I discovered that my seventh great grandfather wasn't just a pirate. He was on the pirate ship of the king of pirates, Henry Every, who sailed out of England, and they took the biggest treasure haul ever. And so I started researching this a little bit, and as I posted things on our Facebook page, found that many of you have found that you had pirates in your background. So Gloria has written a great book about the pirates of colonial Newport. And Newport, Rhode Island, by the way, was a pirate haven. And she's got a lot of insight not only on that and some great stories, but also maybe how to research your potential pirate. Anybody who's a mariner back in those days might have been one. So we'll find out more coming up in about 8 or 9 minutes. Just a reminder, by the way, if you haven't done it yet, get signed up on our Patron Club. You can do it through ExtremeGenes.com. Just click on the button there or go to Patreon.com/ExtremeGenes. We give you all kinds of bonus material. We do a monthly Ask Us Anything segment with David Allen Lambert, the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society, and early access to our shows after they air. And speaking of David Allen Lambert, he is on the line with us right now from Boston, Massachusetts. How you doing, David? Welcome back.
Hey, I'm doing good. We're digging out after having a terrible snowstorm early in the year, but we're all still standing and the icicles are falling off.
Well, that sounds like a fun way to start out the new year. And, of course, it's been stupid cold. You know, I've got a sister who lives in Boston, and she's been reporting on it. I'm sure there are a lot of busted pipes and all of that. But more importantly, the good news is you can stay indoors. You can work on your computer and do a little research and find out about your people. This was very cool, by the way. I was just talking about the pirate thing, David.
Mm-hmm.
And I found an actual proclamation from King William of England in 1696. And It was the first worldwide hunt for a pirate, or for anybody for that matter. Mm-hmm. And he was putting up £1,000 of reward. And then they mentioned 25 crew members. And my seventh great grandfather was one of the crew members mentioned. So that tells me he was in on the entire voyage of this particular ship. And it's an ugly history. But we're digging it up and having some fun with that. And that's why we're talking pirates today.
Oh, that's great. Well, arg.
Yes.
Well, this doesn't deal with Rhode Island, but it does deal with the UK and with New England. If you are from Scotland, Connecticut, currently, you probably already know that you are now a lord or a lady. Because of the Highland Titles, a Scottish land preservation company, it's giving all 1,694 residents of Scotland, Connecticut, a plot of land and a title in the Glencoe Woods in Scotland.
Isn't that cool? And it's 1 square foot. And they get these titles along with it. And this organization is basically trying to preserve woodland. And anybody can do this. So if you have Scottish ancestry, as I do, and I know you do too, David, you could actually pick up a square foot of land in Scotland and a title for just $44.
I think that's what I have to buy my wife for her birthday present next month. Don't tell her she's already a lady to me, but now she'll technically be a lady.
Yes.
Fun stuff. All right, well, the next story deals with a town in Hastings, Minnesota, where Jeremy Jackson was working to help identify remains from a long-abandoned cemetery. And some of them actually had the casket plates on them. I actually own a couple. So it's interesting. Some were put on the caskets, and some were saved as mementos of their loved ones. And these are helping people find who are actually buried there, and they found some of the descendants.
That's incredible. You have casket plates?
I do, and they weren't dug up by me personally in a cemetery search. They were taken off the casket before the burial. I have my great-grandmother, Bessie Taylor Clark, and I have my dad's sister, who died in 1930. My uncle had them in a drawer and said, hey, do you want these? I was going to sell them at a yard sale. I'm like, no. Those are mine. My kids are a little spooked out by them. Yes. I don't have them on display, but I do have them.
Suitable for framing, right, David?
Literally. But it's fascinating to have that type of thing in your family. But yeah, good luck to this group trying to find the descendants. Sometimes we miss those birthdays for relatives. Well, how about a community in Australia that missed its 150th anniversary by 3 years?
Oh, I heard about this, yeah. They don't have very good historians there, apparently.
And also they had a flood, so you have to give the historians a break a little bit. So Charleville in southwestern Queensland, Australia, has now planned a big celebration for this year. They're going to have it anyways, but it's going to be 3 years too late.
Yeah, the 153rd anniversary celebration.
Because that's what you celebrate. It's a sesquicentennial plus 3.
Yeah.
All right, if you're living out in Iowa and you're looking for a home, you might want to contact a couple in Ringgold County. They have a valued property worth $52,700, and they're giving the house away. The catch? You have to take the house with you.
Yeah, you have to move it. And this was a house that they actually raised their own kids in, and it doesn't look to be in very good shape from what I've seen. You can see the picture of this at extremegenes.com, by the way. It's
a 2.5-story structure. It looks pretty sound, but just like any house, they could move it, and, part of it could stay there. We haven't focused our blogger spotlight this year, but Ellen Thompson Jennings has a blog called blog.familyhistoryhound.com, and she uses the phrase, "Don't bark up the wrong tree." She did a post early in January on New Year's resolutions. Hers is called a genealogy rewind. So she's going back and going through her genealogy, something we all probably could do once in a while. And, of course, NEHGS would love to have you as a member of AmericanAncestors.org. You can sign up as a guest user. If you decide to join, remember the checkout code EXTREME for Extreme Genes and save $20. Well, that's all I have for Beantown this week. Hopefully it'll get a little warmer and I can take this jacket off and talk to you.
Whew, boy, I can only imagine. All right, David, thanks so much. We'll talk to you again next week. And coming up in 3 minutes, I'm going to talk to Gloria Merchant. She's the author of a book called Pirates of Colonial Newport. It was a pirate haven. If you have a pirate in your background or a suspected pirate, she's going to have some ideas to help you research that scoundrel. That's coming up in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show. Hey, Genies, it's Fisher, and whether you're new to family history, a seasoned pro, or you've simply missed the event in years past, now's your chance to connect at Roots Tech. It's the world's largest family history conference. Now, you can join everybody for 4 days of discovery and make connections to your past, enjoy world-class entertainment, interactive booths, and hundreds of hands-on classes. Listen to celebrity speakers like former Olympic gold medalist Scott Hamilton and Brandon Stanton, the founder of the Humans of New York photo blog, and Henry Louis Gates Jr., host of the hit PBS show Finding Your Roots. Purchase your 4-day Roots Tech Pass today and save over $80 on a regularly priced pass. Learn the latest about DNA, explore recently released record sets, and interact with exciting technology. You can join the excitement and the fun. Discover your family. Discover yourself. Discover Roots Tech. Roots Tech 2018, February 28th through March 3rd at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City, Utah. Register at rootstech.org.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andme.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andme.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andme.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andme.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andme.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andme.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andme.com. nbsp.com.
Hi, Genies. It's Scott Fisher, host of Extreme Genes, with an invitation for you to join our brand spanking new Extreme Genes Patrons Club. Now, the Extreme Genes Patrons Club is where, for as little as $1 a month, Genies everywhere can take advantage of Extreme Genes rewards, such as early access to our latest podcasts, members-only bonus podcasts, acknowledgement on extremegenes.com, and special monthly live online question and answer sessions with well-known family history experts. Catch visits with genealogy stars such as David Allen Lambert, photo detective Maureen Taylor, DNA expert C.C. Moore, and many other experts and storytellers. If you find yourself craving more stories, more ideas for digging up your dead, more inspiration, the Extreme Genes Patrons Club is for you. The rewards start at just $1 a month. Find out more now. Just go to extremegenes.com and click on our special Extreme Genes Patrons Club link at the top right. Or go to patreon.com/extremegenes. It was about 6 years ago where I first discovered that I had a pirate in my background. And since I started talking about this on Facebook and other places relating to Extreme Genes, I've run into a lot of you, Genies, who have the same type of background as well. And it's fascinating to explore that background. Hey, it's Fisher here. It's Extreme Genes, America's family history show, and extremegenes.com. This segment is being brought to you by FamilySearch.org. And as I've gone about my research into this pirate who goes by the name of William Downes, I ran across a woman who wrote a book a couple of years ago that's doing very well, and it should be because it just is excellent, relating to the pirates of colonial Newport in Rhode Island, which is where my guy is from. And I have her on the line with me right now. Gloria Merchant, welcome to Extreme Genes.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here.
What got you started on the pirates?
I grew up in Rhode Island, right on the ocean, on Narragansett Bay, and much of my childhood I heard stories about pirates, local pirates, Captain Kidd being around here, pirate treasure, pirate ghosts. These were just those kind of stories you grow up with. Well, a few years back, I wondered, where there's smoke, maybe there's fire. So that's really how I started with the legend.
And didn't they just recently find some ancient coins that would relate to pirate treasure, Spanish cob coins?
Yeah, I know the area in Newport where they dug them up. And it was coins that date back to the colonial era. The colony itself, and I'm sure all of the colonies at that time, were cash-starved. England kept their colonies cash-starved to encourage dependence on the mother country. So when gold and silver coins came up, they were foreign. Mm-hmm. And the ones that I believe were unearthed in a farm in Middletown, Rhode Island, which is just north of Newport, were gold and were Spanish, I'm thinking. Yep. It was just one or two. It wasn't like a big bunch. It's like something fell out of someone's pocket rather than buried intentionally. Sure. But that did just come up within the last year.
The fun of discovering history through your ancestors is that so many new things open up that you suddenly relate to yourself that you wouldn't have maybe when you were a school kid in 8th grade in Mrs. Helms' history class. Sorry, Mrs. Helms. But I was fascinated to learn that Rhode Island was a haven for pirates, that they were protected. And my guy in 1698 was actually let out from jail by the sheriff at the time under the pretense of having to, quote-unquote, ease himself. And the sheriff, whose daughter was married to another pirate, looked the other way, and off William Downes went, never to be seen again as far as pirating goes.
Mm-hmm, absolutely, and he wasn't the only one.
This happened a lot, didn't it?
It did. In the late 1600s, not much past the turn of that 1700, that century, Newport, Rhode Island was indeed a pirate haven. Several reasons for that. One is that everybody profited from piracy. The government profited, merchants profited by through selling black market goods, and just folks profited because they bought things at bargain prices. It was just part of the culture at the time. Also, Newport Harbor is fabulous. So there was an awful lot of maritime activity in terms of legitimate trade and pirating trade. But the main feature that encouraged the colony to harbor pirates was that the local pirates did not attack local shipping. They attacked Red Sea shipping They sailed to Madagascar. Madagascar was a pirate base. So they attacked foreign shipping and foreign shipping of non-Christian peoples. So the local Christian community did not really have a problem with that. And that brought wealth into the colonies.
And that's interesting you say that, because I question in my mind why, after escaping from jail or prison, I guess the words were kind of interchangeable at that time, why would a Puritan girl marry this pirate? Well, apparently they were fairly respectable and probably rather dashing figures to some of these women at that time, don't you think?
Well, they were. And they were, well, you can't call them heroes, because they were also poorly behaved. Even locally, they would get drunk and irritate the local authorities, but they weren't the only ones doing that. But because of the wealth and because of the dash of their dashing lifestyle, and they dressed to the nines, they were very conspicuous characters, and they spent a lot of money in the colonies. So local businesses thrived. Local taverns, they rented when they were unsure, they had to rent places to live. So they were part of the community, really. And as long as they didn't break any local laws and offend anyone locally by their behavior, they were accepted. In fact, many returned home from piracy, bought farms or businesses, and became quite respectable citizens, church-going respectable citizens.
In fact, yes, some of them actually were founders of your church there in Newport, right? Pirates.
Trinity Church.
Yeah.
It was an Anglican church to begin with. It's transformed since the Revolution, but yes, there were 2 retired pirates outright that were part of the founding members, and 3 other men that were associated with piracy in one way or another. Either, family member was involved, or they consorted with pirates, did business with pirates. So of the 16 founders of Trinity Church, 5 of them had a very clear connection to piracy.
That's crazy. The other thing I learned, and you and I talked about on the phone the other day, was that Jones Beach, which is a very famous beach on the south shore of Long Island in New York, was actually named for a Newport pirate, Thomas Jones.
Thomas Jones. I learned this from a man who read my book, and he contacted me because he wanted to know more about Thomas Jones, and he hadn't seen the name in too many sources, but mine was one of them. This man is from New Jersey. He was researching the town that he lived in, doing historical research, and Thomas Jones apparently founded the town, and the beach was named after him, which I did not know about. I mean, Thomas Jones kind of left Newport. Well, he was escaping the long arm of the British Admiralty, much like your ancestor was, so he left Newport and did go to Long Island. That little bit I did know, because his father-in-law owned whatever property it was that he landed in, and none of his father-in-law's children wanted it because it was out in the boondocks and there was nothing to do there. So Thomas Jones went and founded this little town, and yes, there's a beach named after him. I wonder if the locals know he was a pirate. But, well, they do now, because the guy that wrote the history knows.
Right, and it's out there for anybody who cares to look for it. So of the people who lived in Newport at the time, were there a tremendous number of local pirates? I mean, born and bred, grew up, become mariners, and become pirates? Or were most of the pirates harbored in Rhode Island? And I would assume, specifically in Newport, largely, were they from out of the country?
They were colonists predominantly, not foreigners. They were Anglo-colonial, Anglo-Americans. And, well, we only know names of pirates because the captains, or even as privateers, they would get honorable commissions and then become pirates. We know the names of the captains and sometimes a few members of the crew. The only way we get to know all of the members of the crew is if they're arrested. So for every captain, let's say there are over 40 members of a crew, definitely over 40 for any given ship. And if there's a fleet of pirate ships, 2 or 3 of them, well, then that's times 3. So the names that we know that come down to us, there's Palsgrave Williams, who was from Block Island and moved to Newport he was a jeweler in Newport. He was a pirate outright, and he was born in Rhode Island and worked in Rhode Island. A member of his crew named Cavally comes up in a newspaper article, so we know his name from that. Thomas, too, was notorious, and he was a local man. And we know some of the members of the other captains that sailed with him and members of the crews, because legend and stories have come down to us from Baldrich's account in Madagascar.
Right.
And newspaper accounts. That was a wonderful resource to me. Through a local college, I found America's Colonial Newspapers, a site for the America's Colonial Newspapers. I go right back into what was read and posted at the time, and pirate captures, who was captured by pirates, who was executed somewhere on an island that, somebody came from Rhode Island. And when the name Rhode Island in colonial times referred exactly to Aquidneck Island, which is Newport.
Okay.
The state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, when we say Rhode Island, we mean the whole state. The colony of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, colonial Rhode Island was Aquidneck Island, which is where Newport is located. So when somebody is said to have come from Rhode Island, they came from Newport. So they came from, that island itself. If a ship fitted out in Rhode Island, that ship fitted out in Newport, because Middletown and Portsmouth, the other two towns on Aquidneck Island, wouldn't have had the facility.
Sure.
So,
and that's the other aspect, too. These pirates brought a lot of jobs to this area, right? Because they didn't have a lot of other sources of economy. So you had shipbuilders and everything involved with that. Do you have a pirate ancestor of your own?
Not that I'm aware of. It would be my husband's family. And, when I wrote the book, the name Merchant does come up, but they were captured by pirates, and they gave witness against pirates. And I always have fun thinking if my sons would have probably been happier, would have enjoyed it more if they were the actual pirates. But it's very. I mean, I don't know all the names. And my husband's family, both sides, have been here since the 1600s. Some names come up in the book. Whipple, Abraham Whipple, who was accused of piracy in 1772. There's something called the Gaspee Affair. Enforcement ships from England were attacked by colonists because they were enforcing London's dreaded laws, and they were doing it unfairly. They were, confiscating ships and cargo that had nothing to do with smuggling. That was the whole point of the ships being here, to attack smugglers, which, by the way, was another large aspect of Rhode Island's economy and New England in general. But we're relatively proud of that one. Because it was, it's nothing like not allowing the king to take your prize. But so Abraham Whipple, his name comes up because he was part of the Gaspee Affair that attacked his ship, and so he was accused of piracy by England. The colonists accused the ship itself of piracy. It was a lot of back and forth. But the Whipple name does come up in my husband's ancestry, as does a man named Rhodes, Rhodes name, and they were both associated with harboring pirates or being pirates. Happily, it could be.
All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, let's talk about how people can research their mariners to see if they might have a piratical past. And talk about Henry Every and his incredible journey, because he was known as the king of pirates for some of the things he did. That's coming up in 5 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Scientific studies have proven that youth who know even a little bit about their family history perform better academically and have a greater sense of personal confidence and stability. Genealogy is its own incredible superpower that arms our children with super strength. But how do you get your child or grandchild interested in studying their family history? That kind of stuff is just for grandmas, right? Not anymore. ZapTheGrandmaGap.com leaps the generation gap in a single bound. Author Janet Havorka provides you with useful and timely advice on helping the young people in your life become engaged in their own family history. Janet has an entire collection of books to inspire the young and the young at heart in fun, interactive ways. She also offers creative tips and advice on her blog and in her free weekly newsletter. Stop by ZapTheGrandmaGap.com today to sign up for Janet's free email newsletter with 52 weeks of easy tips, free downloads, and order your set of resource books and workbooks. Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chartmasters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartmasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chartmasters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style of genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chartmasters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chartmasters today at FamilyChartmasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chartmasters will give the greatest care to your family history.
And and welcome back. It's America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth. This segment is brought to you by 23andMe.com DNA. And as we talked about in the previous segment, I discovered not long ago a lot more about my pirate ancestor. He was in Rhode Island when he escaped from jail, as the sheriff allowed him to leave the jail to, quote, ease himself. But as we're learning from our guest, Gloria Merchant, Rhode Island was a haven for pirates. And I thought we'd talk a little, Gloria, about how people might want to research their own ancestors who they suspect may have been pirates. How many of the mariners of Rhode Island would you say were pirates? Was it a majority?
Well, that's so very tricky. What you can find officially are privateering commissions.
Okay. And that's just for the captains, right? You can't necessarily find the crewmen.
Not necessarily. You'll find the captain, but then I have not taken deep dives into privateering commissions because it wasn't part of my research. But what little I saw may make reference to names that are associated with the ship itself for whatever reason. And when a captain got a privateering commission, he didn't necessarily know who his crew was going to be yet, but they, accumulated them later. So, that's an official place to look. You'll find the names of captains and maybe like quartermasters or people that, would be important members of the crew. The catch with the piracy connection is no one would have admitted to being a pirate.
Yeah.
They admitted to being privateers or mariners. I mean, they would, as your ancestor did, he called himself a mariner, which he was. But so often the line was crossed back and forth while these mariners did whatever it was they were doing. So
they felt justified, didn't they? They felt that, like you said, if it was against non-Christian groups, they were justified in doing this. They'd come back home and be just normal citizens in many cases.
Well, truly, yes, for that early period, through the early 1700s. Once we get into the history of Caribbean piracy, they were considered criminals outright, even by Newport's standards. They were not given safe haven. Another way which you found your way to your ancestor was if you find trial records.
Right. Yes.
And they are out there. I have tripped over, John Kelch and his crew, a Boston pirate. What the Admiralty insisted on during pirate trials was getting them documented in writing and printed up. So there are accounts of pirate trials that the Admiralty kept.
And these pirates would often reveal other crew members, right?
They were listed. If they were in trial, they were listed. The crew members were all listed in these pirate trials. Newspaper articles of arrests of pirates, the entire Gravelly Point pirate crew that was arrested was listed in the local newspaper.
If they got them all. But if they had one individual, wouldn't you say, well, who else was on your crew? Wouldn't that be in the testimony?
Well, that gets to documents from the time of privateering and piracy in the colonial period. You get examinations, depositions. Adam Baldrich, who pretty much ran the pirate haven in Madagascar, kept a log, and much of that log is quoted. Jameson is the editor of that. It is a collection that you can find. It was, I think, printed mid-19th century. I found it in libraries.
Sure.
It's not that easy, but you can find it. And, all of those documents list many names of either the people who were arrested or those that were interviewed, gave names of others. There was a man who was a prisoner on a ship, the captain of whom was Hoare, that came out of Newport. Well, his prisoner wrote letters and documented. He literally made a list of who the pirates were on Hoare's ship. So all of those names are in a place in that collection of documents, privateering and piracy in the colonial period by Jameson, the editor of Jameson. So an awful lot of firsthand material can come from sources like that. And as I said, newspaper articles that come from the colonial time will list either people who were captured, pirates who were captured and later tried, and an awful lot of the New England pirates, the survivors of the Witta, the wreck of the Witta on Cape Cod. This is a very famous wreck locally in the neighborhood. It was legend forever until the actual wreck was discovered. But it was a real thing, and there was a real trial for the half a dozen men that were captured. Most of them were killed during the wreck itself in a storm off the Cape. Over 100 bodies washed ashore, but half a dozen men that escaped were eventually rounded up and tried.
And their names were out there. So we only have a limited amount of time. I do want to talk about Henry Every, because he's not a pirate we know like Blackbeard or Captain Kidd, but at the time, he was known as the king of the pirates. And so he was basically the first mate on a ship called the Charles II that was doing some runs for the Spanish government at the time. And then they're stuck in Spain. They're not getting paid, and they mutiny. And off to sea they go. And you could better pick up the story than I, Gloria.
Well, they do. Off to sea they go. They head for Madagascar. And he landed there. Well, he has a connection to Newport's pirates, which is why I followed up on his story.
Sure.
When he landed there, he began attacking shipping from the Red Sea, which is the Great Moguls predominantly. It's Arabian shipping, Indian and Arabian shipping. He ultimately connected with Thomas Tew and his company, 5 ships out of Newport, and they all raided together. Now, his reputation as the king of the pirates comes probably from the capture of the Great Mogul's ship. That was what
and
made,
that's like the biggest,
made his reputation.
The biggest treasure haul ever for a pirate, as I understand it. And that then caused a problem, because now Every starts going after English shipping, Dutch shipping, and of course they've ticked off the Great Mogul, who does trading with the English, and so they set out this broadside around the world. It's the first worldwide search for a pirate captain and his crew, and that's where I found my ancestor's name on the list, which blew my mind.
And aren't we proud?
We are so proud.
I think that's fabulous, that you found your man on that list.
I actually did better than the British government, because they couldn't find him.
There you go.
And they wound
they couldn't.
No, and they wound up hiding down in the Bahamas, in Nassau, and then split. And many of them came to America, and many went back to England. And the ones who went to England, 6 of them got hung at trial. And Every disappeared, and legend has it that he died poor and broke.
Yes, exactly. Legend also has it that he was fabulously wealthy and ran some little kingdom somewhere in the West Indies. But that's probably not true. No, he no doubt died poor and broke. And many of them did. Pirates spent their loot. They ran through their loot one way or another, because they had to pay for safe havens, pay bribes. Something came up in a conversation with you earlier about, why didn't they just all change their names? And I realized later that some of them did, including Avery. Breckenridge or something. He did change his last name from Avery to something else. And a number of them did, and just assumed new identities and moved on. Your ancestor didn't bother.
No.
So I guess he didn't have to.
I think he must have felt safe, is what the deal is.
Sure.
But bribing the officials seems to be the way that a lot of these guys got away with all this. Well, we're running short on time here, Gloria. I want to plug your book here, because it's a real good one. And you can get an e-version of the book. You can get a hard copy of the book. It's Pirates of Colonial Newport, a 2015 book by my guest, Gloria Merchant. You can get it at Amazon.com. Another great reference, by the way, for a lot of this is one that you use a lot for your book, Gloria. Alexander Boyd Hawes, Off-Soundings, Aspects of the Maritime History of Rhode Island. It doesn't just cover Rhode Island, though. It covers all kinds of things that went on in New England concerning pirates and privateering and everything relating to that. And what great tips you've given us, Gloria, on how to track down some of our pirate ancestors. It sounds like you've got a long journey yet ahead in this.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I could be helpful. And it's endlessly fun. I learned from people like yourself that read my book and then tell me your stories.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Gloria, and we look forward to hearing more from your computer in the future.
Thank you so much.
And coming up next, it will be time to talk preservation once again with our Preservation Authority, Tom Perry from tmcplace.com, answering your questions about how to preserve your precious documents, your photographs, your videos, your home movies. That's all on the way, coming up in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show. Well, Genies, my personal family history researcher who sends me new information day and night has sent me some incredible new records and newspaper stories lately. Hi, it's Fisher, and the name of that researcher, by the way, is myheritage.com. It's the hardest working service in genealogy, looking for records of your family 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yes, even while you're sleeping. How does it work? MyHeritage uses hundreds of algorithms to match your ancestors to over 5 billion records from around the world, and with 97% accuracy. That means no more wasting time figuring out whether or not a match really is a match. I hear from listeners all the time who are shocked with how much information is accurately found and then passed along. And now MyHeritage will translate your ancestors' names into English or any other language you like from foreign records. In fact, it works with over 40 languages. No one else does this. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned researcher, you need myheritage.com.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andme.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andme.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andme.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andme.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andme.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andme.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andme.com.
Legacy Tree Genealogist is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've been working with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins or heirs to property. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476. Call now or register online to get a free estimate. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries. legacytree.com.
It's time to talk preservation once again on Extreme Genes, America's family history show, and extremegenes.com. Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, and this segment is brought to you by myheritage.com. Tom Perry is in the house. He is our preservation authority from tmcplace.com. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Super.
From Mexico over the holidays to Las Vegas, you've been at the Consumer Electronics Show. What do they call it, CES now?
Right, yeah, they dropped the name Consumer Electronics Show and just call it CES because there's so many electronic things that are not related to consumers. There are all kinds of things. For instance, it's almost like an auto show part of it now. They have all these new cars. Can you imagine running your car on water? You know, I am waiting so much for when I can run my iPad on water and don't have to charge it up anymore. Just pour some distilled water in and rock and roll.
Boy, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Well, what are some of the things that you saw there that caught your eye?
Obviously, Google, Apple, and Amazon are really pushing their voice technology, and each one of them wants to be in every device out there, so they become the prominent thing. It's just like the old VHS and beta wars all over again, and the DVD wars. So we'll see if all three stay strong. The neat thing today is in electronics, you don't have to have it one or the other. You can have all three in your devices and just have a way that it can differentiate between one or the other. So it's great that you'll be able to one day maybe talk to your scanner and say, hey, scan this photo at 120 DPI, scan this photo at 6,000 DPI. So you don't have to keep going into the menu, changing things, because everything is going to be voice actuated. You can talk to your faucet. You can talk to your shower. Say, hey, shower, turn on and warm up to 98 degrees or whatever. And if you're in there, hey, cool down, heat up. It's just absolutely incredible where all this voice technology is going.
And then you mentioned something about laundry here a little bit ago. My wife's going to love this.
This is perfect for all you people out there that want to do family history that just don't have enough time with all the chores you have to do. It is a box that folds your clothes automatically. Dump your clothes in, it'll fold them so you can go away and get on your scanners and scan your photos, work on family history, all these kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It will save you so much time.
And then you'll be happy. I know.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to some listener questions here. June has dropped us an email, and she said, are you able to transfer a video of about 1.5 hours in length from my iPhone to a CD, and can you enhance the image quality?
You know, that's a really good question. And with today's technology, we've talked about it before, it's not really that hard to do. What I would recommend you do, if you totally don't want to do it yourself, you want to turn it over to somebody like us, you have a couple of options. First, send us your phone, but that's going to be a hassle. You're not going to have your phone for possibly a week. Something that's really easy to do, especially with an iPhone, you should have iCloud automatically. If you don't, go set up a free Dropbox account. Plug in your phone, tell it to automatically go to Dropbox.
Google Photo?
Exactly. Any of those where you can get it online. Then you can give us the code to it, set up a specific password just for that folder, and then we can go to it. Or you can burn it to a disk and bring in the disk, send the disk to us. Or if you're the ones that are a DIY type person, all you need to do is get Wondershare, which we've talked about a zillion times. You can take that file off your phone, put it in Wondershare, and it will turn it into anything that you want. And for editing, we've talked to you about DaVinci. You can get that software, clean it up, do all kinds of fancy stuff to it. So it's pretty much unlimited what you can do. You can do the whole thing by yourself. You can have us help you however you want to do it. We're more than happy to help you.
Yeah, but, you know, there really isn't much need for people to go to people like you for something like this.
Exactly. And we tell people that all the time. If you can do this yourself, do it. If you're a DIY person, do it yourself. Don't worry about sending stuff to us. And there's a lot of pleasure that comes when you're doing something yourself. It's just incredible what you can do now.
Well, and I know it's intimidating to a lot of people when you're dealing with different programs and technology, especially folks who didn't grow up with that. But, you know, your kids, your grandkids can figure this stuff out, and it really is simple.
Oh, I tell people that all the time. When you have problems with your iPad, go to the local kindergartners, and they'll be able to get you all set up.
All right. We've got to take a break. What are we going to talk about when we get back, Tom?
Let's do some more emails after the break.
All right. We'll get to it in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chart Masters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartMasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chart Masters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chart Masters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chart Masters today at FamilyChartMasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chart Masters will give the greatest care to your family history.
When was the last time you heard your grandmother's voice or saw your family enjoying life back in the 1950s or 60s? If the reason is you haven't known what to do with your old recordings, videos, and films, here's your answer. The Multimedia Center in Salt Lake City.
We brought in a video project to the Multimedia Center, and overnight they duplicated it to DVD so we could meet our deadline.
The Multimedia Center, 2870 East, 3300 South, Salt Lake City. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Call 801-483-1717 or go to transferduplication.com.
Genies, it's Fisher with exciting news. The Weekly Genie, the official newsletter of Extreme Genes, is here. It's your Monday morning briefing on what's happening in the world of genealogy and family history and on Extreme Genes. Get all the details of jaw-dropping stories of discovery and keep up with the latest techniques in family history research. Get to know more about your favorite Extreme Genes personalities. And it's free. Sign up for the Weekly Genie now at extremegenes.com or or the Extreme Genes Facebook page. And when you do, you'll receive David Allen Lambert's Top 10 Tips for Beginning Genealogists from the Chief Genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society. Sign up today for the Weekly Genie. We are back for our final segment of Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show, and ExtremeGenes.com. My name is Fisher. I'm your radio root sleuth, and we're talking with Tom Perry from TMCplace.com, the Preservation Authority. Tom, we have an email from Chuck Grosvenor. That's a good Eastern name there. I recognize that. And he's saying, hey, I have 8mm and 16mm film to be digitized. Sounds like home movies. And I also have a reel-to-reel recording to be digitized. It's all personal, so nothing is copyrighted. Well, that's a good point, isn't it?
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
And so he wants to know, how does pricing around the country typically work?
Okay, what you always want to do is make sure you do your background check, read some reviews on their Facebook page, see if they have an online presence. And one thing I always recommend is get their address and do a Google search and find out, is this a house? Is this a business? What is this? And people that work out of their house aren't necessarily a bad option, but you want to make sure you check it out. Does it look like a good neighborhood? Check with the local licensing, see if they really are licensed, because even if they're working out of their house, they need to have a license. Otherwise, they're not liable for anything that can go wrong. And most importantly, if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. We have people always telling us, oh, I found this price, I found this price, I found this price. And we've actually sent tapes to them just to see what would happen. And what they are promising is not what you're getting.
So you're talking about using Google Street View.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can go right in, look in their driveway, look in their business, see what their hours are. Because nowadays with technology, one of the bad sides is anybody can be anything they want to online. They can say they've been around for 150 years and they're in a brand new subdivision with houses that aren't 6 months old. So you need to really check. That's why I always suggest trying to find somebody local. Go over the questions we've talked about before to make sure you ask the right questions to make sure you're getting what is going to last you forever and isn't going to disintegrate in a year.
All right, so getting back to the pricing question then, we have 8mm, 16mm, and reel-to-reel tapes. How is pricing typically done with a quality person?
Okay, if you want the very best, which is high definition, you're going to be looking in the 20s. Like it can be 20 cents, 21, 22, up to 25 cents generally per foot. That's how much it is a foot. If you have the little 3-inch reels, like they're 50 feet, you can go on our website and we have a little thing that will tell you how many feet you have.
So for 50 feet, it'd be about $10.
Right, exactly. So if you want to go that way, that's the best way to go. If that's out of your budget, it's best to do something with them right now. You can get as low as 15 cents, but that's either going to be standard definition or what I call pseudo high def. Some people advertise that they do high def at 15 cents, but they have this little machine they got on eBay or on Amazon that's really, really slow, but they start it, they walk away from it. It doesn't give you the true frame grabs that you want when you're doing good quality film, because we don't run it and shoot it off of a wall. We actually scan it frame by frame like a slide, and then the software knits it together in a cohesive format.
Wow. And what about reel-to-reel audio?
Reel-to-reel audio, you're going to want to, again, make sure somebody knows what they're doing. They didn't just buy a machine. And it usually runs about $45 a reel, depending on what size your reels are, how many you do at a time. And that's for a good quality transfer, where you're going to get a machine where they keep their heads clean. They're going to transfer it, make it sound good. Because if they have dirty heads, all it's going to do is affect your sound. You're not going to be able to hear Uncle Marvin really talking about what his history is, or funerals, or anything like that. You want it to be good quality. It's worth a little bit more you're going to pay.
And they're going to do that in real time, right?
Exactly. So many people do it in high speed because they can cut their costs by 70%, but you're going to lose some fidelity by doing it in high speed. If that's all you can afford, it's better than nothing, but try and see if you can get one less trip to Starbucks and have some money to do it right.
All right, Tom, we'll see you again next week. Thanks so much.
We'll be here.
And, of course, if you have a question for Tom, you can email him at asktom@tmcplace.com. Hey, that's our show for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to check out our Patrons Club with all kinds of great benefits, bonus podcasts, early listening to the podcast after they air on radio, and sign up for our free weekly Genie newsletter as well. Just go to extremegenes.com. Talk to you again next week. Thanks so much for joining us. And remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.